The riverside life is always exciting and enriching with the fresh air from woods and crops, the availability of groundwater, and many more as far as civilization is concerned. But the story of villages abutting the left bank of Pulichintala project is different. The limestone-filled black soils are ideal for commercial crops with inconsistent agricultural income and poor access to water, even though they live in a stone's throw distance to the perennial river Krishna. The prime source of income in this cement industrial area is agriculture, be it the yield or agricultural labor. The resettlement and rehabilitation program initiated by the Telangana government to help finding a new and secured living and livelihood of residents who fall under the category of Project's Backwater Area is effectively implemented by the Collectorate Nalgonda district by achieving good public relations with the villagers from different economic and social strata. Dr. K.L. Rao Sagar project, popularly known as Pulichintala project, is located on Krishna River between Nagarjun Sagar and Prakasham Barrage, proposed as a balancing reservoir to store about 45.77 TMC. The multi-purpose project serving irrigation needs, hydropower generation and flood control. Apart from being a fourth road transport facility between Nalgonda and Guntur districts, followed by Vadapalli, Nagarjun Sagar and an ongoing bridge at Mattapalli. The project facilitates irrigation in Andhra Pradesh, and however, the state of Telangana owns and operates a 120 megawatt hydroelectric project at the left bank of the river. Pulichintala project facilitates supply of water for irrigation and to ensure timely nursery and transplantation operations during June and July in Krishna Delta. A lift canal irrigation scheme drawing water from the Pulichintala reservoir for irrigation in Nalgonda district is under implementation. The power generation project has become functional from 22nd September 2016 successfully by operating the first unit for hydropower. Second unit is in final stage of erection. It may be commissioned in December 2016. Remaining 2 units will take 1 year time to commission. The other side of the progress is loss of properties of villagers, lands and houses in large scale with the increase of water levels in reservoir. The relocation of houses and structures in drought-prone areas and compensation to the agricultural lands affected with the emergence of project have been taken up as a project for resettlement and rehabilitation, with Joint Collector and Additional District Magistrate of Nalgonda District as the project administrator. In this process, the government had identified 13 villages for displacement and 4 partially affected villages. Apart from houses and lands, the potential loss was also calculated as daily wages against work to agricultural labor, artisans, cattle sheds, roads, and other public properties in the villages. So it was decided to establish 16 full-fledged rehabilitation centers with good connectivity and amenities for all 13 villages. Each center is so carefully planned that it presents back everything that's displaced by water. In fact, it fits into the layout of a well-planned community build. The extent of land required for development of all 16 rehabilitation centers is about 686 acres, valued at 18.04 crores. The benefits to the displaced and affected families are provided as per Resettlement and Rehabilitation Policy 2005. 6,863 families come under BPL income category and 5,339 families of total beneficiaries belong to backward castes, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Out of 6,788 house sites acquired so far, 6,023 house sites have been allotted to project displaced families and most of the units came into existence.
Pulichintala project in Nalgonda district of Telangana state is for storage of 45 TMC of water and generation of 120 megawatt hydel power. This is to spend about 2,600 million rupees for land acquisition and also 3,600 million rupees for rehabilitation resettlement of 13 villages fully and 4 villages partly of 7,100 families. In this process, we need to spend still 1,200 million rupees in 4 resettlement colonies. After formation of Telangana, our Honorable Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao Garu given highest importance for very beautiful rehabilitation of these displaced families in establishing very planned resettlement colonies. Accordingly, we have taken up provision of infrastructure on par with urban areas, and in this process, our Honorable Minister for Irrigation Harish Rao Garu and also our Special Chief Secretary Irrigation S.K. Joshi Garu continuously guided us and helped in taking up well-planned rehabilitation centers and also rehabilitating all displaced families with all civic infrastructure on par with urban areas.
Apart from the house construction grant earmarked for benefit of below poverty line families, additional amount up to 1,05,000 rupees has been extended to scheduled tribes and scheduled castes under Indira Avasa Yojana housing scheme and 70,000 rupees as grant under the same for backward category. Leaving a house where they lived for over generations is not a simple thing. It's a great difficulty for the families who make living on agricultural wages. Hence, the rehabilitation package covers fixed or one-time expenses incurred to rebuild cattle shed or artisan shed, transportation, sanitation, and also compensates the loss of agricultural wages for over 1 to 2 years. Subsistence allowance for 8 months, annuity policy for vulnerable persons, and additional financial assistance to tribal and fishermen families for 1.5 years are added to variable benefits to ease resettlement burden.
These families which were living there in these villages for ages together had to be displaced for the benefit of society at large. And in this context, it is noteworthy to know that these villages did not get any benefit out of this balancing reservoir, in the sense no ayecut was there because of this balancing reservoir in Nalgonda district. So it was all the more painful for them to relocate themselves, leaving their ancestral homes and villages. Under the instructions of our Honorable Chief Minister, whose family itself is a displaced family in Karimnagar district for an irrigation project, we have taken up extra care to have more humane approach to rehabilitate these people in these R&R centers.
All rehabilitation and resettlement centers are located adjacent to roads with public transport facility. The major centers are well connected with link roads to other centers which are located strategically within short distances. Newly constructed rehabilitation centers are being facilitated with adequate water supply, purification and distribution systems. Funds have been allocated judiciously for the infrastructure requirements of R&R centers with respect to concrete and blacktop internal roads of 30 feet width, side drains, plantation, electricity lines and street lights, Krishna water supply and community taps. School buildings, Anganwadi buildings, Gram Panchayats and space for religious structures are also included in the R&R layouts. Land acquisition for community-wise burial grounds is in the process.
గత గ్రామాల్లో పాత గ్రామాల్లో వాళ్ళు కోల్పోయిన గుళ్ళు కానివ్వండి, దేవాలయాలు కానివ్వండి, చర్చిలు కానివ్వండి, మసీదులు కానివ్వండి, వాటన్నింటి కూడా మళ్ళీ ఈ పునరావాస కేంద్రాల్లో నిర్మాణం చేసి వారికి మేము మా ఊరిని కోల్పోవడం వల్ల మేము నష్టపోయినాం అనే భావన రాకుండా అది మేము సమాజ అవసరానికి ఇచ్చినా అంతకంటే ఎక్కువ మేము పొందినాం, ఇంకా అంతకంటే మేము సంతోషంగానే ఉన్నాం అని అనుకునే పద్ధతుల్లో ఇవాళ ఈ పునరావాస కేంద్రాల నిర్మాణం జరిగింది. ఇది నిజంగా కూడా భారతదేశానికి అంతటికి కూడా ఒక రోల్ మోడల్గా నిలిచిపోయే పునరావాస కేంద్రాలు ఇవి. వాస్తవానికి మన ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు కేసీఆర్ గారు స్వయంగా వారు కూడా ముంపు బాధితులే. మరి వారి పూర్వీకులు గతంలో ఏదైతే మానాల ప్రాజెక్టు నిర్మాణం జరిగిందో దాంట్లో వారి యొక్క సర్వస్వాన్ని కోల్పోయి, వారి ఇల్లు భూములను కోల్పోయి అక్కడి నుండి సిద్దిపేట దగ్గర రావడం జరిగింది. ఆ అవకాశం వచ్చింది కాబట్టి మరి ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి ఆదేశాల మేరకు ఈ పద్ధతుల్లో ఒక అద్భుతమైన పునరావాస కేంద్రాలని నిర్మాణం చేసి దేశానికి ఒక రోల్ మోడల్గా ఉండే పునరావాస కేంద్రాలని ఇక్కడ ఏర్పాటు చేయడం జరిగింది.
The health and well-being of displaced people is the utmost concern in the process of developing the infrastructure. All steps are being taken to avoid water stagnation, undercapacity transformers, potholes and unhygienic drains that could cause viral fevers and health issues.
ఇక్కడ స్కూల్ కానీ మజీద్ కానీ మాకు రోడ్లు కానీ ఇవాళ సమస్యలన్నీ పోయినాయి.
అదేవిధంగా గ్రామ పంచాయతీ బిల్డింగు, కమ్యూనిటీ హాలు, అంగన్వాడీ బిల్డింగ్ మొత్తం ఏర్పాటు చేయడం జరిగింది. ప్రతి ఫ్యామిలీకి 242 గజాల స్థలం, 2 కుంటల చోటు ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది.
ఇక్కడ మాకు అన్ని సదుపాయాలు, ఇండ్లు కానీ వస్తువులు అన్నీ మంచిగా ఉన్నాయి. అంగన్వాడీ కేంద్రం కూడా మంచిగా కట్టడం జరిగింది. ప్రహారీ శుభ్రంగా అంతా మొత్తం అయిపోయింది. ఇక్కడ కిచెన్ సపరేట్గా ఉంది, ఫుడ్కి వేరే గది, ఆడుకోవడానికి పిల్లలకు బాగుంది, హాలు, పెద్ద హాలు కట్టడం జరిగింది.
ఈ పులిచింతల ముంపు కింద నాది 15 ఎకరాలు పోయింది సార్. సరే ప్యాకేజ్ అయితే ఓకే. ఇక్కడ ఇల్లు కూడా బాగానే కట్టుకున్నాం సార్. పాత గ్రామం కాడికి కొత్త గ్రామం బాగానే సిటీ టైప్లో మోడల్ కూడా బాగా మంచిగానే నీట్గానే ఉంది సార్.
పాత గ్రామంలో ఇంటికి స్కూల్ చాలా దూరంగా ఉంది, ఇక్కడ చాలా దగ్గరగా ఉంది. ఆటలు ఆడుకోవడానికి ప్లేస్ ఇక్కడ చాలా బాగుంది.
ఇక్కడ మంచినీటి సౌకర్యం కూడా బాగానే ఉందండి. ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత బాత్రూమ్ సౌకర్యం కూడా బాగుంది, బయటికి వెళ్ళే పైన ఇబ్బంది లేకుండా.
పులిచింత ప్రాజెక్టు కింద మునిగిపోయింది మా ఊరు. మాకు ఇక్కడ గవర్నమెంట్ ఇక్కడ ఏర్పాటు చేసే పునరావాసం మాకు అన్నీ బాగానే పర్వాలేదు, ప్లాట్లు ఇచ్చారు, అంతా బాగానే స్కూల్ కట్టించారు, గ్రామ పంచాయతీ కానీ కమ్యూనిటీ హాల్ కానీ అన్నీ కట్టించారు సార్.
While constructing the irrigation projects, rehabilitation has become a very big issue. All the villages are suffering like anything. In many projects in the past olden days, we see from Nagarjun Sagar to SRSP to LMD, still those villages were not rehabilitated properly and they lost their livelihood and their identity. Now, in a Pulichintala project, Government of Telangana has done a very good rehabilitation program which is a model to the country. Now, if you can see, we have given not only the just house, with all infrastructure facilities, with a modern, well-planned, well-designed village. Now they are enjoying the results. I wish they have a very good life and they should never feel that they will lost their village and they lost their livelihood. In a new village with a new life, they will be very successful. I pray the God.